Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome back. Hi. So, we are going to make an adventure. This is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, it is the VOD is available. We did it last week. We went on and we streamed a whole bunch of us. I think it was 2.5 hours of us making a premise from scratch, where we sat down, we figured out a plot. I had a bit of a basic setup I wanted to get across, and then we all talked together, and we came up with the basic plot of this adventure set in a dwarven nation during the last war, my settings version of the last war, where the Atroxian Empire, more on them in a bit, the Atroxian Empire is here to invade because the dwarves have allied themselves with the enemy. So we're now going to pick up where we left off. We're probably going to spend a bit of time just explaining where we were last time before we get right into the weeds of it. And if you're new here, hello and welcome to Mystic Arts. My name is Daði. I'm a professional writer and director, and I've been DMing now for over 10 years. Hi, everybody. Wow. There's a whole bunch of folks. Hey, everybody. So, our adventure is set in a period in my world called the Last War, which was a time where the entire plane, the entire multiverse, was fighting itself. They were kind of stuck in this huge conflict. And during this time, there was a lot of allies being drawn, and when they joined up, they would immediately be sucked into the war. So the dwarves from Venkara, Venkarra, Venkara, allied themselves with the enemy. So Atroxia steps in. They make a landfall with the 6th and 7th divisions on a place called Marak Shores, in the city of Glamara, just outside the Halkani Delta, where the 4th Fleet was awaiting before they could sail upriver, up the Velatros River, we named that last stream, to the dwarven capital of Orgard. Only they cannot make any progress because the lock, the river lock the dwarves have built, the Velatros river lock, is designed in such a way the ships cannot get there, and there is a bastion in the way. So we are going to go figure out together exactly how that all works. Let's have a quick sort of recap on where we're at with all of these things. First of all, sorry, I've got a million tabs open. Suddenly now I think is a good time to, on stream, go close tabs. That's what you all want to see. How do you like the new background, everybody? Look, I'm in space. So, what are the two factions? Well, on one hand, we have Venkara. Venkara is a faction of dwarves, and I think they're basically like Warhammer dwarves. If you're not familiar, I'm thinking the Slayers and that kind of thing, but also we're largely inspired by the minis that we have. So let's have a bit of a look. Hello, everybody. Hi. Hello, Zach. Hello to South Africa. It's Drafty says, if you're watching your Obsidian video, it's become my new favorite thing. Already enjoying the Draw Steel plugin someone has made. They made one already. That's kind of incredible. Yeah, I love that. I love how non-linear it is. Yana says, from scratch, conveniently ignores the gigabyte of notes in your Obsidian. Yes. I mean, I've been running for 10 years. So what that means is a lot of the times when I want to do a new adventure, I have a backlog of ideas that inspire me, and that backlog is huge. There are a million adventures I want to run, and ultimately every now and again I get an idea and I realize that I really can't wait. I can't put it behind one ear. I can't tuck it away. I'm kind of forced into figuring out how to do it and how I want to do it and structuring the whole thing. So that's usually how I know I have to make an adventure. And while I was saying all that, I was yapping so that I could tell you that my vault is not 1 gigabyte. It is 24 megabytes. Show us your tabs. No, you don't want my tabs. My tabs are just a whole bunch of D&D tube channels because I watch so much of this stuff. But I am going to show you some tabs because when I said I wanted to run this adventure, I showed this last time as well, but I'm catching everybody up. When I said I wanted to run this adventure, my flatmate Ivar, who is a fantastic mini painter. Actually, I kind of have to start by showing you how good a mini painter he is, right? Do you want to see some pictures I took of his minis? Yes, you do. Yes, you do is the answer. These are not necessarily minis that are going to feature in the adventure. They might. They might, but not necessarily. Oh, Nairobi's here. Hi, Nairobi. Everyone, you should go check out Nairobi. She makes amazing videos on well, about her life, but also about what that means for being a dungeon master. They're kind of incredible. So let's check this out. Whoa. This is not in the adventure. This is just something I think you'd all be happier if you knew existed. This is Ivar's painting skills. Look at that thing. He's got guts out and everything, and a big hammer. This one might be in the adventure. This one's really cool. Hi, Matt. Avi's not here. She's away. She's having a party, and I wasn't invited because it was a girls' night. And I'm not a girl. These are not the minis that got us inspired, though. These are. Look at that. This is unpainted, obviously. It's not supposed to be plastic gray, but this is a gyrocopter. You can check this out. This is it's got these sort of blades up here and a rear rotor. It's got a turret up front. Can we zoom in? Yes. It's got a guy in here with some goggles, and it's got a turret up front right there. And look, it's got bombs on the back. Right? How cool is that? This is going to be the adventure. We're going to have to find a spot to put this. You've also got here a slayer. Huge axes, massive mohawk. Right? How cool is that? We'll find a spot for some slayers. He said I think we have 3 or 4 slayers. But we only have 1 new slayer. The minis, by and large, are from the year 2000. They're old minis we bought used, and some of them were painted. Look here, you can see a bit. This is the organ gun, the bolt caster, and there's like a little stubby mini cannon. And you can see these dwarves here. They're loading. They've got cannonballs. They're gonna load these things. This one here. Here's how you load it. Look, this is great. A lot of getting excited about an adventure is looking at cool stuff. Looking at cool stuff is kind of the joy. You see good minis. You go flipping through a monster manual, something like the D&D monster manual or others, the Tome of Beasts, the Creature Codex, Flea Mortals. One of those things you start flipping through and you start thinking, I should run an adventure with these things. And that's when you get excited. And that's when you get inspired, and then you steal those things. That's why they made the book, so you use them. So you steal those things, you put them in your adventure. These dwarves have a bolt caster. This is the organ gun. I think Ivar painted this already. He handed it to me. And I don't have it. I don't have it to show you. Look at these guys. This one's got like a beer. His hat's all cocked. It's like a drunk dwarf. Nairobi says she's working on Indominus Rex for the jam. Indominus Rex. What is that? Oh, from the Jurassic Park movie. Awesome. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Nairobi and I and a whole bunch of other folks, we're all looking into doing a dungeon jam together. We're really excited about that. That's something we'll probably talk more about later, but sometime in April we'll be posting videos on a bunch of different channels, and we'll be talking about how to make dungeons together, and there'll be a glut of dungeons for all of you to steal, right? That's why we make these things, so you can steal them and put them in your game. I see Magnus is answering a question from @BG. You said your world is inspired by Eberron. Is your world very steampunk? Magnus has already said that it's a lot like real world Victorian England than it is steampunk. Yeah, that's probably correct. I'm a big believer in different portions of your setting feeling technologically different. I really like the sort of fantasy of asymmetrical warfare, of different factions that operate entirely differently in terms of culture, but also in terms of magic and tech. So people ask me, are the dwarves, the Saf asks, in this setting, the dwarves were the ones with the magic. Yeah, absolutely. The dwarves have word magic, onomancy, which I think we stole from, there was a Unearthed Arcana, which was an onomancer, and we decided that was dwarf magic in our world. But they can also have tech. Maybe what makes these dwarves unique is their mixture. For instance, this is from the game Total War Warhammer. This is a gyrocopter, but it's not a mini, it's a model. This looks super cool to me. This looks absolutely fantastic. And the idea behind these things is that you can sort of mix and match, right? So if you've got an asymmetrical setting, there's a portion of my world that's all knights and castles and oaths and swearing fealty, and the wizards live in long towers and have big pointy hats. And then there's a part of my setting which is like Barovia. I stole it and I put it in my world, so Barovia just exists in its gothic fantasy glory. And then we have Atraxia, which is Industrial Revolution. And Magnus is right. It's not very steampunk. It's more like the British Empire, by which I mean like 18th century Victorian. Yeah, he already said that. So they wear those, those big red woolen coats, and they've got the guns up, except they're not red, they're purple. So they look a bit more like...
Oh! Make ready! Present!
Right? Have you seen the Patriot? So I really get a kick out of those things. I really get a kick out of playing around with these things and having them be different, right? And I get a lot of that from my love of Total War Warhammer, the game. I used to play that a whole bunch. And when in there you got the Empire and they've got guns, and then next door you got Bretonia and they don't have guns, but they have Pegasus Knights. And then just underneath those things you've got the Skaven, and the Skaven have guns, but their guns aren't gunpowder guns, they're warp magic. So different factions have different magic, they have different tech. So the dwarves, they have word magic, but they also have a bit of tech. Hang on, somebody's complaining about ads. So YouTube keeps telling me to put monetization on these things. Insert manually. There we go. Sorry, folks. Yeah, so the dwarves, they have word magic, and they have the tech. They have the gyrocopters. They have firearms too. But the Atraxians are more sort of industrial revolution. Hang on a second. Let's have a look at this. So right here, I took a screenshot of my world map and I put it into Photoshop. A lot of the times, I find myself updating Photoshop sort of in large chunks. I'm sure eventually at some point I will either make a video or stream myself working on this map in Photoshop, and you'll see how the whole thing works. But a lot of the time I'm just in a rush to get an adventure done. And I've put the adventure mode at the top of my brain, so that is what I am focusing on. So that is what I get sucked into. So I don't want to stop the creative process of making an adventure in order to go spend 5 hours twiddling around on a map, and then I don't have an adventure ready, and my players are sad because they want to play D&D. Marty Boros, any plans on recording your sessions? I'd love to see your DM style. Well, thank you. We've talked a lot about this. We get asked quite a bit if we're going to record our sessions. I'm still very hesitant that is something I'm interested in. I know a lot of my players are camera shy, and I know that a lot of D&D for us is very personal. But there may well be that we can figure out some solution in order to get something out there for people who are extraordinarily interested in seeing this, seeing how I DM, and maybe sort of demystifying it a little bit. But we have no plans currently. The Kupark asks, are the single-shot rifles or pistols? The age of the firearms, they're typically bore-loaded, muzzle-loaded, flintlock striking, Industrial Revolution firearms. There are some technologies in my world for people where they've advanced beyond that, and they have, on their own, created a custom firearm. So we have revolvers, and this kind of Lee Enfield rifles and Winchesters and that kind of thing. And that's the kind of stuff that the expeditionary group has. Those are guns they probably made on their own. They crafted them themselves, and they know how to use them. I feel like it was a Book of Vile Darkness conversion mentioned a while back. Yeah. Will we share that online? Maybe one day. Right now we're going to focus on this adventure. So I've got here a Photoshop file in front of me, and it's just a picture of this map. It's a screenshot I took literally just when I was supposed to be going live, and instead I went live 1 minute late. Sorry, I missed the breaks. Can I make the canvas be screenshot sized? Very nice. Victorian meets cowboy. Yeah. I'm not too holy about pinpointing a point in history, and I don't think you need to do that either for your own world. You don't need to think like whenever you're doing medieval fantasy, you're not actually doing medieval fantasy. You have sailing ships that are far beyond what typical medieval societies had. There are so many kludges that we put together. We have Renaissance clothing and then medieval housing, and we mix all these things together in our normal D&D. I think it's absolutely fine to do a little bit of mixing when it comes to our fantasy world, and I could say their soldiers are Victorian, but gunsmithing has, to an experimental level, gotten to the range of firearm revolvers and that kind of thing. The Atroxians also have the printing press, typewriters, no photography. There's no photography in my world. So. What I wanted to do is I wanted to summarize a little bit where we're at. Get a little brush going here. And if you're looking at me clicking brushes and you're thinking, that's insane, do I have to do that in order to do D&D? No. The reason I'm doing this in Photoshop is because I think it's going to be easier for me to communicate it to you folks, and it's going to be, I'm proficient in Photoshop, so it's not going to take me very long to make it look somewhat decently nice. And that's kind of it. So if I now click this button, there we go, fantastic, that's what I wanted. So the Atroxians have taken Maroc shores, right? Have I ever heard of Incarnate? Yeah, I use Incarnate too. I use it for town maps. I really like the way it looks. I'll probably do a tutorial on Incarnate at some point. Maybe. So the Atroxians are here, and they have parked their butts along with... I don't want the text to be purple. Are you insane? The 6th... 6th and 7th. 6th and 7th divisions of the army. Can we get that a little bit more? That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Like that. Ooh, terrible. Terrible. No good. Stand by. Maybe this isn't fast. Maybe this is just me being absolutely useless. Stand by. There we go. The 6th and 7th divisions of the Atroxian army, right? We're talking wool coats, tricorn hats, hip, 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 those kinds of folks. They are parked in Marak Shores. They have taken the city of Glomara, which is this city over here. Picture quality is bad, that's just how it is. And the 4th fleet is out in Halkani Delta, right? What they want to do... Hang on. Don't ask me how that's possible. Magnus might be able to enlighten on that. He's already outing me in chats I've seen. This river here, this curvy looking border is actually a river, and it's the river Velatros, and it connects the capital of Orgard to the Halkani Delta and the rest of the ocean. I forgot to tell our members that we're live. Bam, there we go. So, there's a division, or 2 divisions of the army, and there's a fleet. And if it weren't for the fact that the dwarves have strong bases up and down this river, they would have already won. The Atroxians have the manpower, they have the tech, they would have already won. But they have not won. So they need player characters. And the player characters are the expeditionary group. Pardon the Icelandic keyboard. As an Icelander, it is useful because it lets me type in my language. Do the players control divisions and fleets? No. The players are 6 elite soldiers, a part of the expeditionary group. They are basically special forces guys. Last live stream, somebody asked if what we were doing here is fantasy ghost recon. And yes, that is absolutely what we're doing. I love spy fiction. I'm a big fan of James Bond movies. I watched them a lot growing up. I really wanted to make an adventure where the players are playing special forces guys. They're JSOC, right? But like Victorian era, they have custom firearms, they have explosives they need to set, and their primary objectives are going to be dwarven fortresses. In particular, their star bastions. Saf asks, I think I got here too late last time for this, but how did the invasion start? Why are the Atroxians there? So, in order to answer this question, I sort of have to go on a long spiel about my campaign world. But I'm gonna try and spare you here. I'm gonna instead say, ooh, sorry, hang on, important question. Sean Connery or Roger Moore? Do I have to pick one of those two? Moore. Moore doesn't get enough love. People, I'm gonna put my flag down and I'm gonna say it's Moore. Fight me. Timothy Dalton. Actually, that's the correct answer. the way in Spy Who Loved Me, when the guy's gripping on his tie and he knocks him. Moi, art. So, the special forces guys are going to go up. No, hang on. Saf asked the question. The invasion. How did it start? I have played something like 70. This will be my 70th adventure or campaign, however you want to categorize those things. Probably closer to saying campaign in this setting. I think I've probably run 40 adventures on how this war began and what the various factions are. But ultimately, the real answer here is that the dwarves have allied themselves with the enemy. The Atroxians have allied themselves with the forces of good as far as they're concerned. And at this point, we've sort of gotten into our World War II analog. The dwarves aren't Nazi Germany, but they are, Italy, right? They're Italy. D-Day just happened, and now they have to push inward. That is kind of the gist. Thanks, Mossy. Everyone go check out Mossy Antler too. Mossy Antler has criminally few subscribers considering how spectacular their content is. So go check them out as well. But after the stream. Grosswink, I'm sorry. Who is the enemy? Hang on, my microphone is deciding that now is a good time to escape. The enemy is the Invincible Overlord. When I started running this setting ages ago, I stole Matt Colville's villain. He hadn't started streaming the chain by then. I just heard about it in his 15th video, the one on bad guys, the one on bounties. I don't remember. The one where he talks about the Invincible Overlord for the first time, and I stole him. I thought, thanks, I'll have that. I changed his actual name. His name is Ajax in my world, and I've changed the backstory a whole bunch, and the factions and the map, and by the time I'd run that adventure for 6 years, I was running a different character. And then I saw the chain, and I thought, our two Invincible Overlords are nothing alike. But I did completely, shamelessly steal it from him. So the dwarves allied themselves with a tyrant who wants to conquer the world. Hang on, I'm going to have a little drink here. All hail the Screaming Mass. I don't think we're going to get a Screaming Mass tonight. Will I make a video on how I did this map? Yeah, eventually. Eventually. I'll start with some more basic map making videos first, but eventually we'll go into the Photoshop thing. So here's the thing. Here's the adventure, everybody. You watching? You prepared? Let's launch Obsidian. Oh god, what happened? Hang on. Hang on. It forgot. There we go. Untitled Venkara Campaign. The heroes are Atroxian soldiers, members of the Special Tactics branch of the Atroxian Armed Forces. They're on assignment in Venkara. The expeditionary group is assigned to take control of the Belatros River Lock, but when they find the secret dwarven war plans, they realize they must therefore stop the Venkarans from wreaking havoc on the Atroxian troops and the rest of the Venkaran people before it's too late. The dwarves have secret weapons, and those secret weapons are going to be fatal to the Atroxians, and probably fatal to a lot of the dwarven people, the Venkaran people. It is the year 1421. If you were here last time, I changed it. I had to go look at my calendar and I realized this has to happen in 1421. I really can't get into why. That would take forever. It's the first year of the last war, already taking its toll on the Oldfield Empire, the 6th and 7th divisions. We went through all this, right? They're halted at Marak shores. They have to go up the river. They have to go to Orgard. But they can't. So they need the player characters. And that's where our folks come in. Now, last time, Matt's Invincible Overlord is also a reference to a really old D&D module from 76. Yeah, City State of the Invincible Overlord. Yeah. I've checked that out. I checked it. Expeditionary Group. The Expeditionary Group are exceptional soldiers, special forces soldiers with extensive training in firearms, explosives, and asymmetrical warfare. Last time we made up 6 archetypes for our players, and we told them they could be one of these 6 archetypes. And when the stream went down, I then sent this to my players. I created a Discord chat, like I talked about in our Session 0 video, about how I don't do it. Although some people would argue a Discord chat is technically Session 0, which I don't buy. We don't have a session, and it's not 0. I just sent them a text. But I sent them a text, and I said, it's the year 1421, blah, 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 last war. I told them the basic intro. And I told them that these are their options. And by the same time the next morning, everyone had said, I want to be this option, I want to be that option, so on. And now it's a week later, and I have been sent 1, 2, 3, I've been sent 4 character sheets. And the only reason I haven't been sent 5 is because one of them wants to play a homebrew class. AB wants to play a homebrew class, and I told her I had to do a couple of finishing touches on the Warlord. Well, me and Magnus have to do a couple of finishing touches on the Warlord. So she has to wait a bit. So over the course of a week, they've picked characters, they're making characters, and they're pestering me. They're going, when are we going to get to know what special equipment we get? I'm a sapper. I'm the sapper. I have bombs. What kind of bombs do I get? Can I pick all the bombs? Can I have 50 of every bomb? You have to tell me, and I go, okay, next week I'll send you a text message and you guys will know what bombs you have. Hasn't taken us any time at all. I have sent, 8 text messages in there. Easy. So what we want to do now, this is part 2 of our streams. What we need to do is we need to figure out the outline of the adventure. Right? Last time we talked about the premise, what's going on. That's the thing I've been summarizing. What's going on, what's happening. We talked about the Blighted Tower, right? Mountain range to the west of Orgard. Geysers across the area spew out poisonous gases. Got several comments telling me that venom is a type of poison, and this is incorrect, so there you go, everybody. You can breathe now. The blight that's around these peaks is said to kill all who enter, right? This is also called the Home of First Sky, I think we called it last time. I noticed that there are 3 riverlocks mentioned. Yeah, we decided there's only 1. You're right. You can't breathe poison. What do I call this? Hey, is poison wrong too? Breathe air bad. If breathe, then die. Cough, cough. What are the words I'm supposed to use for that? I don't know. So the premise is they can't get up the... Thank you, Drool the Gamer. Thank you. The premise is they can't get up the river, the Atroxian, so they get the player characters to join on. And when the player characters help them in the first session, they're going to go ahead and they're going to do some seriously cool stuff. Poison is right, we just can't breathe it. Okay, cool. Only you have to understand what you're writing, Daði. That is correct. Isn't that just the lesson, everybody? So I'm going to put on a headset because I don't think I can write unless I have productivity music in my ears. I thought I could, but it's turning out that I just can't. So I need my focus music. Otherwise, we don't do anything. It's been 36 minutes. We haven't started. Terrible. You Pavloved yourself. Yeah, you're right. They had to hold the river lock. Step 1. Hold the river lock. Here we go. Hang on. Alright, we've already started. Listen. Expeditionary group, adventure outline. Sweet. Let's just go down here. Independence. But we're finale and Karen's. So, what I think we need, in order for this adventure to be fun, is we need to think like video game level designers, right? I'm talking XCOM style mission objectives. We talked a lot about the first session, last stream last week, and we talked about how their job is to get into the Valatros River lock, hold it, while the Fourth Fleet gets into the lock, raises the level of the lake, or the river, and then the Fourth Fleet can bombard the Star Bastions. Right? So that all makes sense. What we need is ideas that we can use, that we can break apart, and we can figure out what is this session about. What is the mission? Right? We had a section here earlier called missions. I'm going to bring it down here. We also had a section called cool ideas. I'm going to bring it down here. I don't think we need this top text anymore. Are you intending on having the players enter the Star Bastions, or are you planning on just having them watch as the Navy destroys them? I think they need to enter the Star Bastion. I think session number 1. Maybe it's wrong to do it like this. I don't know. Adventure outline. Maybe this kind of format would be better. Yana says waves of enemies. Hold it for some times against waves of enemies. I think that's the thing. I think it's King of the Hill, right? If you literally think FPS game mode, right, and you're playing an FPS, What are the kinds of objectives we do here? What I want to end up with is 6. I'm going to erase missions. But cool ideas, we'll make it a bigger header. Here's what I do. I do example text. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to end up with 6 FPS style missions that the players can do. This one, the first one, is King of the Hill. They have to break in. I think they have to break in, destroy the gyral turret inside the Star Bastion, open up the river lock, let the 4th Fleet in, and hold it until the river is raised. At that point, they evacuate. Hello, Mr. Necken. Welcome along. Two keys that have to be turned on the same time, either side of the lock, forcing the party to split. That might be cool. Disable their shield generators. Yeah, basically, they have to blow up the gyral turret. Wave defense. Capture the flank. All right. Hang on, let's bring back that missions header we had earlier. Right? What kind of missions do FPS style video games have? Wave defense, capture the flag. I'm going to call this King of the Hill. Capture the flag. What else did you have there, Yanis? Escort. Yeah. I think chase is also on here. Incite a rebellion objective. Yeah. I don't know if that's an FPS style mission, but that's a story element. Incite rebellion from the unpaid interns, the prisoners with jobs. Search and destroy. Yeah. How does search and destroy work? There's an objective somewhere in here. Deathmatch is no use to us, I don't think. It's sort of the default assumption. Rescue mission. Payload. Yeah, escort the payload. Multiple flag defense. Eliminate enemy elite squad. I think enemy elite squad is a story element. I think it's something that's going on in the background. I don't think it's a mission necessarily. Now, a targeted kill, like an assassination. Hostage rescue. Yeah, let's call rescue mission hostage rescue. These are our words are becoming more and more actionable. Rescue mission becomes hostage rescue. We can use that. Rescue missions, a bit vague. Tracuros has made FPS maps in D&D. That's true. Gun game. That's funny. No. Find the traitor. No, I don't think it's that kind of game. Stealth mission, like infiltrating without being detected and then planning a bomb or something. I think stealth is going to be such a pervasive part of this entire adventure that I don't want to separate it out into its own thing. I wanna make sure that every mission becomes easier with stealth. Kidnapping. Defend an objective. I think we're starting with that. King of the Hill. Elaine said, how about this for a twist? And then hasn't said anything more. Find the MacGuffin. Yeah, find the MacGuffin works. I think what we need is what to do with it next. And if the answer is destroy, we have that. Search and destroy. But find the thing. Find a thing and get out, I think also works, right? We're going to find the thing and we're going to get out of here. This is more than 6. Search and destroy. That's right. One-sided game mode. Yeah, time bomb defusal. Yeah, okay. That works. That makes sense. Deliver information through enemy occupied area. Backslash echo could be a heist. Yeah, I think that's steal the MacGuffin. I think that's good. Deliver information through enemy occupied area. So that one sounds really good. I'm terrified. I'm terrified that in order to make that fun, being caught has to be maximally deadly. But then if they fail, we stop playing D&D. So I'm a little nervous on that one. Also, it's not a 2 or 3 word thing. Ampersand. Now we're cooking. Every now and again my mic decides that it's going on a little adventure and it doesn't want to tell me when. Magnus asks, which of these missions is the end game? Search and destroy for something related to the Unmaker, since that could allow them to succeed without surviving. Yes. Yeah, I think we need to figure out. Sort of our order here, right? I think we got a pretty good list. We got more than 6, right? So capture the flag is not unlike steal the MacGuffin. So right now, what we want to do is we want to take this list, we want to get it down to somewhere between 6 or 8. What do we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cutting 1 would get through it. But 6 would be ideal. So I think session 1 is King of the Hill. Get in there, hold the thing from waves of enemies, and then get out. I think a lot of these end in evac, by the way. What is, people keep saying, extraordinary rendition. What is that? Googling. Ah, right, yeah, state-sponsored kidnapping. Yeah. That's not bad. Ooh, hang on, that's good. Giannis. Giannis says you can combine some of them by having side objectives in a single mission. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Elaine finally posts the twist. Dwarf spy in their ranks. I think it's probably fine. I think spy in their ranks. I think it's probably just a good thing to deploy at some point. So, I'm not gonna have the speaker. I'm gonna try and phrase each session here. Right now the numbers are a distraction. First, or maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. Maybe Magnus is right. Add a card they can raid to get better weapons. No, we're not doing gun game. That is too on the nose. I don't want my players sitting there thinking, what FPS mission are we doing next? If at any point we do gun game, they all go, all right, we're doing gun game, right? We're just doing FPS missions. I want to try and make sure they just feel like they're playing hypersensitive operations. They know that they cannot win mano a mano against the entire army. So they know they always have to evac, right? Like XCOM, they always have to, the helicopter shows up and they have to get out of there. Yana says you might make a choice between two objectives. Yes, that seems like a fun thing to do at the end. Do you A or B? Do you A or B? Now we're cooking. That's pretty good. Callum Breen says, my fiance has been loving the videos. She's joined the dark side of DMing. Has found your content super helpful. Thank you so much, and say hi to your fiance for me. That's amazing. I love it when I hear I'm helping people get started. That will remain the greatest perk of doing this stuff. Like Helldivers never win. They just get the mission done and get out. Yeah, totally. So I'm going to rewrite this one more time. I'm going to summarize the first session. Before next stream, we summarize the first session the whole time. But right now. And then I'm going to add a second. Honestly, Helldivers is a really good reference for this. I think you're right. I now am going to say something unthinkable. I don't know anything about Helldivers. For democracy, something. I don't know. Maybe the point of King of the Hill is to wait out reinforcements of a better suited or direct for combat. Yeah! Yes, you're right. That is correct, Jan Solar. Super democracy. God, I'm sorry. For super democracy. Why do I have a feeling that's an innuendo? I've been on the internet. I know what it is. So it's not just that they need to all respect out the window. I'm sorry. I'll go. I promise. I'll go. Helldivers equals Starship Troopers. Got it. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I'm doing my part. Let me roll up the sleeves. This isn't working. You can't win this. It's also so hot in here. It's not just the Riverlock. Remember the gyro turret? The gyro turret is something we've forgotten. The gyro turret is the reason the army can't help. When the army engages Star Bastion, the Expeditionary Force can evac. Let's summarize this one more time. I lied earlier. No, must this better. No. See, okay, hang on. I'm having trouble forming a thought. So they have to blow up the river lock. No, they have to capture the river lock. They have to open it. And then they have to blow up the gyral turret. If they blow up the gyral turret too soon, let's just get that thought then. I know there's a discontinuity here, but we're going to get to that in a bit. And they'll deploy something. Gyrocopter reinforcements. I'm gonna stop tagging everything. You only raise sooner in the gyrocopter reinforcement. Okay. Quick look at chat here. Plane bombers, yeah. If they blow up the gyral turret too soon, they'll send in the dwarves, the gyrocopters, and then they're screwed, right? So the expeditionary group, Gorp expeditionary group, must sneak into the base, capture the lock, open it for the fleet, and detonate. And in one moment, open the lock and detonate the gyral turret. If they blow up the turret too soon, the alarm will be raised, and gyrocopter reinforcements will come provide aid to the Venkaran defenders against the expeditionary. They'll need to hold the lock. Let me capitalize lock up here as well. For how long? How do they prevent the plane bombers from destroying the fleet? I don't know. Good question. I don't know. Fleet has anti-air defenses? I don't know. And we're stuck again. If you've ever done any writing, and I assume you have because you're a dungeon master, you'll know that writing is a thing that happens in between being stuck. There's a brief moment where you have a window, and then you type down everything you think, and then you're stuck again. Squirt Minus says they'd have to first blow up the turret and then get the lock. See, that would make a lot of sense. But But that seems easier. I want it to be more difficult. I want them to think, how the hell are we going to do this? So, let's say hold the lock for a minute. We'll worry about this in a second. Don't let me forget. Yeah, hang on. You just need cannons you can elevate. Yeah, listen. You're right. Absolutely right. P Quick says, should I do a recap? Get the juices flowing? No, I've been recapping for an hour. I need to write something. I need to weaken the turret's bastion. That's where there's 6 different missions. No. Next mission is on another map. Every mission, different map. First mission is not the time to crank the difficulty. They are going to be playing level 11 characters. They're going to be equipped to the teeth. The first mission, listen, we'll have, we can go more up. There are always more up. The first mission is not the time to have the maximum difficulty, but I need to pitch the adventure in the first session. I want the players to come in, and I want them to realize what adventure they're playing. And they're going to sit there going, holy crap, we need to do A and B at the same time while defending, while getting the fleet in? That's impossible. How are we supposed to do that? And then I'm going to have an NPC say, you are the expeditionary group. Who else could do it? You are the player characters. You need to do this. And then they realize, yeah, that's us. That's who we are. That's what this adventure is. Later on, they're going to fight the Unmaker and an ancient tyrant, and they're going to go, what the hell, Daði? You're a real son of a bitch, you know that. Ooh. D. Kupark, Magnus is highlighting D. Kupark's suggestion of having the expeditionary force take the turret. Take control of it. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Now they have to do 2 things. They have to take the turret, they have to take the lock. They have to hold both. Doing either too soon will raise the alarm sooner and buy time for the Venkarans to deploy gyrocopter reinforcements. Expeditionary group. Jan Solar suggested it as well. I think it sort of clicked. Yeah. A lot of the times, this is another writing lesson, everybody. A lot of the times, when you have 2 problems in writing, if you have 2 different problems, your best solution is turning it into 2 problems become 1 solution. That usually works for me. This time, it worked for somebody else, and now I'm benefiting off it. Ha ha ha. The expeditionary group must then use the gyro turret to take down gyrocopters. Is gyro turret gyrocopters? That's going to confuse everybody, right? Should we get a different name for the turret? I think so. I think we should. Rotary turret, spinning gun. Rotary turret sounds like it's on a roundabout to me. Does the expeditionary group refer to the small team of players or the whole army division? It's just the 6 player characters. Gatling turrets. No, we have Gatling turrets. It doesn't. Hang on. I see why you're confused. Hang on a minute. I wish I had a thing I could. It's not that it spins like this. It's on a house, and the house spins like this, and it's like a tank top. Not a tank top. It's like the top gun of a tank, and it moves on the house, and that allows the gun to rotate in multiple axes. It doesn't rotate this way. It rotates up, down, left, right. Turret magical or technological? I think it's tech. I think it's like cogs and stuff. I think it looks like a clock. Axial turret. Yes. The axial turret. Yep, that's good. No more gyros. As in, it has an axis. Yeah. Dope. Alright, now, does everybody understand how this is King of the Hill? It makes perfect sense, right? Because in that case, Control H will do find and replace. Awesome. I keep learning. I think what we need is to figure out what the Dwarven intel is. See, this is annoying because right now, no, I think if we go figure out the Dwarven intel, we'll get distracted. I think we'll sort of end up just writing all of session 1. Good luck with your game, Process Soy. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Eric. Absolutely, you can do it. I believe in you. Is there going to be some sort of battle as they travel by boat upriver? No. So, here's the thing. The Battle of the Riverlock is going to feature the 6th, 7th Division and the Army and the Navy. And then they're going to have to split off. The Special Forces guys, the Expeditionary Group, is going to have to go do something else while the Army continues on their invasion. Because the Expeditionary Force finds intelligence. We don't know what the intelligence is yet. That's sort of the crucial thing here. We know that we have a job to do. We're going to go make an adventure. We're gonna make a bunch of missions, and they're going to be cool, and they're going to be fun to fight. So I think Magnus says that we have to consider what the overarching plot elements introduced at the end of session 1 would be like. I think we can. I think there's nothing wrong with it, but I'd rather go figure out what the what other things inspire us. They get some Dwarven intelligence. The Dwarven intelligence sends the Expeditionary Group away from everybody else, and they now have to go figure out what they want to go, they have to, there is this thing that we need to go deal with. And that's, the Unmaker, that's the word of mass destruction. Let's go to our cool ideas. Gyrocopter chase sequence. I don't think we're there yet. River locks. Done. Cut them. Reanimated ancestors. Here's what we should do. Here's what we should do. We have missions, and we have cool ideas. Can we now go pair them? Right? Have the Expeditionary Force follow the evacuating MVPs to field control. Do they have some sort of way of communicating with the army? No. No, they are untethered behind enemy lines on a secret operation. They are just going to have to go figure things out, right? So what we need to do is we need to go take these missions here that we have. We're going to cut King of the Hill. We've put it in session 1. We don't need it here anymore. This is our working document. So we are putting stuff in to remember it. And then when we put it into a more usable format, we take it out. So can we start mixing these together? Yeah, now people are... So, da-da-da-da. Rescue prisoner of war. Riverlock and gyrocopter chase sequence sounds a lot like that Half-Life 2 level. Yeah, it does. Search and destroy at the airfield where they used to have to escape, but gyrocopter gives chase. I think the gyrocopter chase sequence is easy to figure something out for. So we're gonna put that on the back burner. Dwarven spies, counter espionage. We have that here. We also have it here. Spy in the ranks. Elite enemy squad. Search and destroy on some artillery guns that are slowing down the progress of river. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Alright, let's do this. Word of mass destruction. What mission fits with that? Right? Capture the flag. You can go capture the word. Get out of there. Search and destroy is like several objectives, right? I have a difficult time imagining doing that on a grid. I don't know how to work that one. Hostage rescue. Hostage rescue could be a good thing to do next, just because it gives us the dwarves. If we want to have dwarven friends with the party, a hostage rescue could immediately get that done. Targeted kill. I think targeted kill is going to be our undead guy or something like that. It's the arcane targeted kill, a key arcane smith for the word. Targeted kill on the onomancer. Yeah, that might work. Yeah, thank you. That squirt -1 and Magnus. Those kind of work. WMD mission is where they learn about the Unmaker's involvement because the word is actually derived from the Unmaker's true name. Janus, you are on fire. You're really good. Yeah. That's cool. Well, I think what we've learned then is that this is like session 5. Maybe it's 4 or 5. Dwarven Insider, Hostage Rescue seems to blend really well. Yeah, Allison. Yeah, that's correct. I think this is sort of a no-brainer for mission number 2, so I'm going to put it up here. I think search and destroy bombs up the river is just such a big scale. I don't know that that's going to work, but search and destroy some kind of artillery or something in a settlement, that might work. Can we do both at the same time? So hostage rescue and search and destroy and then chase mission, gyrocopter. We could easily find a spot for that. I'm not worried. We're going to put that right here at the bottom. We know that we're going to get that. Steal the MacGuffin and capture the flag is the same thing in my head. So I'm just going to trim this a bit. Deliver info through occupied area. I don't really know what to do with it yet. Will they enter the capital? No. I don't think so. Target kill the mech. That could also work. Target kill, we could really sort of stick any bad guy at the end of that. I like the Onomancer idea. Capture and retrieval of an enemy officer for an intelligence game. It played great. That might work. I'm gonna keep drinking the caffeine. It's 9 o'clock here, so it's probably too late for caffeine, but I got an adventure to write. At this point, sorry, I don't want you hearing the ice clatter, so I mute myself. I was saying Magnus is being too useful as a joke. So Allison, deliver information through occupied area could be about the counterintelligence. I want to know, Allison, what happens if the occupied area is so dangerous that they have to go in stealthily? What is the consequence of failure? Because if they go through and they fail, several stealth rolls in a row, they have to get punished somehow. What is the consequence of failure? Because I don't think we can use deliver information through occupied area as a concept unless we know what the failure condition is. Adjust my seating position here. I think session number 2 is about the mech. I think session number 2 is about the mech. I think there's a village. Hang on. I'm going to do this as bullet points right now so that I don't worry about phrasing. Village upriver. There's loads of engineers inside. One of them has been feeding Troxians information. Rescue. The idea with the mech sounds cool. If they do it stealthy and they fail, the mech gets assembled. Yeah. 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 I can always think of a failure condition. I can if you fail, you simply can't finish the mission. Do we then just stop playing D&D? Is that fun? Yeah, that's a good idea, Elaine. Also, there's a mech being assembled. I think it's a small village. I think it's a handful of houses. I think it's big on a battle map. I think I'm gonna take my big gridded table and I'm gonna fill it with houses, and we're gonna put a bunch of dudes in there, and then they're gonna go through house by house. So they're gonna have to figure stuff out. They're gonna have to get intelligence. They're gonna have to figure out where to go. I think that could sound cool. search and destroy plus the Mac, right? Doing it in all caps to tell myself this isn't the name of the session. This might be the name of the session, but this one isn't. And then the dwarf can share information about the next bit, right? And we sort of cascade down the thing. Somewhere along the way, we also want to make sure that this isn't a railroad, right? And we're going to think of these cool missions. We're going to think of things you can do in them. Somewhere along the way, I don't think we're there yet, but somewhere along the way, we want to present the players with a dilemma of some kind. I don't think it has to be a major one, but I think it has to be enough that they kind of have to think about things and think about where they stand and think about what they believe, and that is where the adventure is going to come in. You can do a 6-session adventure where the first session is the setup, the last session is the payoff, and in between you don't really exactly know what's going on, and that's kind of the standalone adventure we did a video about in the world build with standalone adventures. You have this section in the middle that's a sandbox, and then you have the penultimate session and the final session. I prep those all the time, and I literally don't know what happens in between. I just have to prep it as I go. But I want that feeling of going through FPS missions. So we're going to have to think of cool FPS missions, but then we are sort of free to decide that this mission or that mission is best as a moral dilemma, and then how that affects the group and how the effect of that carries on. So somewhere around this section here, so probably in one of these, probably session 4, if we just have to pick one, moral dilemma. In there, we are going to be presenting the players with a moral dilemma. This may cause the group to break up. This may cause them to not like each other. This may cause them to have difficulties that are going to carry on. They're going to have an effect out to the end of the adventure. And that is how we avoid it from becoming too much of a railroad. They have this lingering thing. I don't know what that is yet. Gotta get a new thing of that's leaking. I think there's another moral dilemma here at the end. I think the reanimated ancestor has to be the final boss, right? It could be the Unmaker. How do we make the Unmaker the final boss? Literally, they just fight a massive, a great unclean one or something. Can I show you something one of the patrons, one of the members posted? We have a chat on our membership channel on the Discord where people post their minis they paint. And there are some amazing paint jobs on there, including one by Dapper Dan. Look at that. Gross warning. This is gross. If you're easily grossed out, close your eyes for a bit. Look at this. Ugh. Ugh. This set the entire apartment into chaos when Dan posted this on our Discord. We all freaked out. If you want to join the Discord, you could consider becoming a channel member, and you'll get access to gross pictures of Dapper Dan's minis. There's a whole bunch more in here. There's also a chat where people post pictures of their cats and dogs. It's kind of amazing. I think we need to move the moral dilemma here. No, I don't know. God, I don't know. This is tough. Can we proceed without the intelligence? I don't know. He's beautiful. No, no, Crowag. No, he's really not. So, do you learn about the Unmaker that late? Maybe we tease it here. We should tease it earlier. Targeted killing. It is 5e Sour Dragon. I have my own answer on the Warforged already, but that I completely agree. I think those are awesome, but I can't use them because I've already done stuff with them. Do you want any element of players prioritizing mission order? Yeah, that might be good. So there is that makes me think of your most recent session, Magnus, because in your most recent session, we didn't really play. We just talked about what there was left to do in the adventure, and we spent a lot of time talking about what kind of objectives we wanted to go clear, because we thought they might have an effect on the final battle. And that reminded me of a system in Red Hand of Doom, which is a 3rd edition adventure where you fight an army of hobgoblins. And in the adventure, there's a whole bunch of things the hobgoblins are planning to do, and all those things count as victory points. And there's a whole bunch of them. Red Hand of Doom. There's a whole bunch of them. And the answer is that, you know, if the adventure ends, the hobgoblins still have X in victory points, they win the final battle. And if the hobgoblins win the final battle, then something happens. Maybe that's what the Expeditionary Force is doing here. Maybe, you know, if we could write if the mech isn't destroyed, then Karens have 3 victory points, right? Microphone is gonna collapse. Hang on. Hope that wasn't too loud. Maybe the Unmaker is the moral dilemma. Yeah. Yeah, Alison, I love Red Hat Doom. Dilemma, the research facility where they discovered the WND suffers an outbreak of blight-corrupted subjects. Do you blow up the place? Maybe. I don't wanna do too many things per mission. But maybe. I think we just need 1 or 2 really big sort of what do we do now kind of scenarios. Could do, okay, Magnus says, this is not a bad idea. Could do mission 1, mission 2, and then a choice of 3 missions, during one of which they learn about the Unmaker. Acting on that info earlier means it's far less along, but the war effort suffers instead. Yeah, okay. Okay. Let's remember we want a moral dilemma. Let's put a pin in that and remember it along with the other thing I told you to remember. Choice of 3 missions. That's not bad. Choice of 3 missions. has to happen here? Time is always a great driver in TTRPGs. Yeah. I can always count on the fact that if I just put a ticking clock on something, suddenly everyone perks up. I think you already have a moral dilemma in session 2. Yeah. It's not the same thing as I'm thinking. So what there was a particular session I'm thinking about that I ran, where the question of what do we as the Atroxians are here in this foreign nation, and we're having an effect on these people. What do we do about that? And I put it very front and center. I think the civilians in session 2 are going to inform that debate later, and we're going to want to see the debate brewing. And I think the debate has to be, what about the dwarves? The Venkaran government, the king, has slaves. But there are plenty of normal Venkarans, just good old folk. So what do we do about that? So to make all 3 missions, Janus says, equally valuable, you need to make them all advance different facets of the war effort. Yeah, they don't need to be equally valuable, they just need to seem equally valuable. But I agree. And if we put in word of mass destruction, I think we lose that. I think suddenly then they're going to be like, well, who cares if there is some artillery that needs to get taken down? So, up the army, up the navy, follow the strange logic. I think that's it. Yeah. Onomancers are up to something big as the info drop. Yeah, I think you're right. Sabotage an enemy production facility, destroy or disable some kind of large enemy detachment, and 3 is the Onomancer thing. Yeah, that's not bad, Janus. That's not bad. Do you have God's intervention in your world? It has happened. It happens at the end of the last war, but it won't happen in this adventure except for the Unmaker. John Solar says, speaking the name of the Unmaker is the weapon. Yeah, I think that's cool. I think the targeted killing. I think the reason they have to kill this guy. There is an Onomancer who knows the Unmaker's true name. It's spoken. It'll kill thousands, maybe an entire division. Create a diversion. That's not bad, Rihanna. Escort the payload could be the Navy thing instead of search and destroy. Because we're going to do search and destroy here anyway. So right, TF2, you go somebody has to be next to the bomb to push it. They have to escort this explosive there. I don't know if they have trains. I tend to think of trains as Atroxian. They have steam locomotives. Villagers attack the heroes? Yeah. Unmaker destroys a village is something. That's something we can do. I don't know how. Armored train. No, I think the trains are Atroxian. There is a thing. I was just watching to hype myself up. There's a thing in Warhammer. Total Warhammer. Dwarves. There are these. They have these kind of tank things. This stuff. This stuff. What is that? It's like a car or something, right? What are those? Dreadnoughts? Is that what they're called? No, it's like a tank. Or like a mech, I mean. What's the, testing the word on their own people? No, if for some reason, the Unmaker, releasing the Unmaker, or letting the dwarves release the Unmaker, if somehow that's going to help them win the war. So they're stuck there thinking, we can just, the dwarves are about to make a mistake. Common doctrine is don't interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. What is the mistake? What is the thing that the dwarves are about to do that will turn all of their own people against them? Chaos Dwarf Iron Demon. Yeah, that's what it is. That looks awesome. That looks awesome. This. Yeah, that's the thing with the Navy. But so is there some way for me to communicate to them very efficiently, very effectively, how stupid it is of the dwarves to release the Unmaker? Love your channel. Thanks, Chad. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I think this has to be about the Unmaker. I think session 6. Session 6 is, what do we do? What do we do about the Unmaker? I think that the Unmaker is if released, the Unmaker will crush its way through a dozen dwarven villages before getting even getting close. It's likely to anger civilian populace. It is likely to radicalize. letting the dwarves, letting the king of Venkara, a person. The species is not doing this to themselves. There's a person who has got these people oppressed. Letting him oppress his people more might spark a revolution. How do you write atrocity? Alright, I've missed chat a bit. Let me scroll up here. They come across the remains of the Unmaker's last attack. So I don't think there is one. I think the Unmaker is predates the civilization. But I think you're thinking along the right lines. Horribly violent murals of why they ran from the Unmaker in the ancient times. Yes, yes. There are horribly violent murals of the Unmaker's unchecked power. No one can control such creatures. You're right. The Atroxians could just let the dwarves release the Unmaker and leave. Even if there isn't a rebellion and the Unmaker is loose, the Venkarans can't mount a defense. They can't contribute to the war effort. They're busy. They're trying to tame this monstrosity. Let them. That will win the war. It'll kill thousands, hundreds of thousands, but it'll win the war. Do we find a village in session 4 that's had earthquakes followed by cracks spewing poison gas? That's cool. Yeah, probably. There we go. Giannis, that's awesome. I'm gonna quote that. Bam. I don't think we're calling it the Sky Breach. Maybe we call it the Sky Breach. When it was opened for the first time, it granted life to the Vinkaran people. It opened again. This is in Dwarvish. When the Sky Breach was opened for the first time, it granted life to our people. If opened again, it will destroy us. Remember, somebody was saying, where is it? Last time we were talking about premise. We said containment breach. Here it is. Unmaker. Neat. Put it down there. Is that the moral dilemma? Let it loose and win, but condemn millions. Yeah. They could guarantee no more Atroxians die in Venkara. They could wash their hands of the whole thing. And literally, and this is why it's a moral dilemma, this is why somebody is going to argue for this. And I think I know which player is going to do it, by the way. Literally, if the Atroxian Expeditionary Force had never been here to begin with, if they had never found the Unmaker, no Atroxians would have died. Only because they know, will some of them now feel like they have to act. I think that's it. Does that mean the final session is a 3-faction battle? Undead ancestors trying to prevent the Unmaker being released, and the King's agents working to free him and the players. Yes. See what Mike was... Do you guys know Do you guys know what Magnus just did there? Do you see what he's done? He has taken an idea that exists in our head, a moral dilemma, and he's put a turn counter on it and put it on the grid. Right? We are now playing a game. Before, they would sit and argue, and this would be an argument in character, and it would take ages. Now, we can have them start arguing, and then we can bring in faction number 1 and faction number 2 and roll initiative, and the argument continues as the rounds progress. But eventually they have to do something, right? That's brilliant. That is fantastic. Yeah. What is the name of the undead king? There are 2 kings. Maybe it shouldn't be an undead king. Maybe it's a duke or a baron. No, it should be an undead king. King this and king that. We need 2 names of kings. He used to be a dwarf. It's a dead dwarf. Giannis is just spitting poetry. I love to see it. Copy pasting this too. Listen, I have no idea if I'm going to use these verbatim, but if nothing else, I've got stuff that I can read and be inspired by. Thank you for inspiring me. Anubis. Firebeard. Theron. Theron's not bad. King Theron. I think the undead king should have a name that reminds us as humans of myth or the Bible or Norse or Greek myth, because it'll feel ancient when we hear it. I love taking myths that exist or places that exist and then just saying them out loud to my players, because that often makes them go, oh, this is a real big thing. What was Daniel called in Red-Handed Doom? I don't know. That's a very good question. Magnus is asking about Red-Handed Doom, where he played a Venkarn. Let's see, let's scroll through one of the many spreadsheets we have. His name was Komi Chainbiter. Khomi. So the new king should have a name something like that. Thanatos. Yeah, Thanatos is the king of the dead, isn't it, in Greek mythology? Yeah. King Thanatos. Lazarus. Ah, it can't be Lazarus. Haven't you watched the combat video? Lazarus is dead. Thanatos. Thanatos. Thanatos was responsible for sealing the Unmaker. Yes, Thanatos is an undead dwarf king. He sealed the Unmaker, and he is sworn by oath to stop it from coming back. I'm looking for. I was going to show you a mini. We have a mini that Ivad is going to paint for us. This is what he's going to look like. This is King Thanatos. You see his skull. He's huge. I think he's actually like a huge creature. I don't know why. Some made him huge. Thanatos reads to be like a middle-aged Icelandic Greek mythology teacher. That's funny. Oh, han Thanatos. That does sound like something an Icelandic mythology teacher would say. We also do a Thanatak. Thanatak. That seems reasonably transformed. King David. No, Cortex. That doesn't work. Now we need to find our normal Olberic. Thanaton? Yeah, Thanaton's fine. Thanaton. Olberic. Thanaton, Thanatak. King Thanatak. King Thanaton. I'm gonna go with Thanaton just because Thanatak sounds like an attack. That attack. I just know during a session it would get confusing, so it's gonna be Thanaton. AB's in the stream. AB, get out of here. This is spoilers, AB. You can't be in here. Say hi to AB, everybody. And then she has to get out of here. It's when he shouts as he attacks. That attack! Ah! That's funny. I don't know how to write hopes. In the hopes of it destroying the Atroxians. King Thanaton and Undead Legion stop the king from releasing the Unmaker. But what does the Expeditionary Company fucking group... Sorry, that's a word I'm not supposed to say on stream. Want to do about the Unmaker? Squirt-1 asks, is it mutually assured destruction kind of thing? Why would he do it? Because he knows that the Atroxians, King Olberic knows that the Atroxians are going to win. So he needs to do something drastic. And this is his last hope. He's desperate. He's a tyrant. He knows the Atroxians are going to depose him. And Magnus also gives a good answer. He thinks he can control it. Nothing can control the Unmaker. Nothing. Maybe he thinks he can point it, direct it. I think he's largely crossing his fingers. King Thanaton, meanwhile, knows this is a fool's errand. This is a dumb thing to do. And I think even if the players side with Thanaton, maybe, we'll see, but even if the players side with Thanaton, they would have to side completely, exclusively, entirely with Thanaton. Because if so much as one of his undead is killed by the players, or if he suspects for an instant that they might release the Unmaker, or let Olberic release the Unmaker, King Thanaton is going to attack them too. He does not care. Elaine, he would rather his country be ash than in Atroxian hands. Yeah, he doesn't care about his people. What happens to your game's history if the Unmaker is let loose? I think eventually the Venkarans are going to get a hold of it, but it's going to take them the entirety of the last war. Maybe it's going to still be a problem in modern day, but it is not going to leave that continent. It is going to screw up Venkara perpetually. The Unmaker. So what is the devastation of the poisonous mist? Ground trembling beast. What is the devastation of that? Yeah. It exudes poison. It's also a big monster. All right, I think we have our moral dilemma. Our moral dilemma is going to come in at the very end. That means that our job for the sessions in between is to lay down the groundwork, is to explain a little bit about who the Unmaker is, what these things are, how they work, how the how the Venkaran people feel about their oppression. These are all things that we need to lay the groundwork for. We need to make sure that we create a fertile ground and an understanding in the players' heads that likely is going to be playing to their biases. A lot of these players are going to come in and they're going to have certain images in their head of who the bad guy are. They're going to start making comparison between the bad guys in the game and bad guys in the real world, or nations in the real world and the Venkarans in the game, and they're going to start making connections. And out of that list of connection, that index that they're going to build in their head, they're going to start to understand these people as analogous to other people. And they're going to do the same for the Atroxians and the Venkarans. So eventually they will create a sort of moral compass in their head about what they think should be going on, how this adventure should be approached, who the good guys are, who the bad guys are, and what their moral obligation is. So it's our job to provide them with the index. We don't need to tell them what to think, what to believe. We need to tell them all kinds of connecting tissue so that they start creating their own sort of version of the story in their head. What the Butt says, Ulbrich is power tripping. He has unquestionable loyalty from his generals for decades, and it's gone to his head. Yeah, Ulbrich is a tyrant. He is a wicked, wicked person. He genuinely, in the real world equivalent, he would be somebody like a name I think you would take down if I say this out loud. Somebody like the bad guy from World War II, or various other bad guys that you can think of right now that are tyrants and are exerting their will on the rest of the world. Ulbrich is wicked. We don't need to know more about him than he is willing to let his people die, if that means there is a slim chance that he can remain king, even if it's King of the Ashes. So, Star Bastion, blow up another Star Bastion, help the Navy, help the Army. Helping the Army to do what? To do something. Not escort the payload. We're going to keep the chase mission. That's going to go in here somewhere, probably. Yeah, exactly, Plorgy-Poo. Some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make. Yes, exactly. Now notice, this is not unlike every time I outline. We have the start, we have roughly what happens next, and then we have the end. I'll tell you what, if I had to, I would be prepared to run this adventure next week. Ideally, I'd go figure all this out, and I'd have huge, 1,700 word prep documents about every session, all the characters and their backstory, and their mothers and their dads and their grandpapa and all that. But I certainly have enough that I could write down this session in a whole, and in in its entirety. I mean, I could write down this entire session as a whole. Blimey. And a week later, I'd have to figure this one out. And by the time week 3 rolls around and I have to get to this one, I would be already figuring out what to do. I think if you're a dungeon master and you've done this amount of work, yeah, it's already 1,200 words in this. Yeah, exactly. If you've done this work, and already this is a lot. This is a lot. You don't need this to start playing D&D. And I'm going to do more because I love prepping. As I said earlier in the stream, I haven't tried Helldivers. I'm not as looped into all the video games and all the everything. I have games I like running. I play D&D sometimes 3 or 4 times a week. I play D&D. Tomorrow will be my 5th session this week. I love playing. I love creating stories with my friends. So I love prepping and I love making cool shit. You don't need more. But we're going to make more anyway because we have fun. All right? Magnus says, I think the player characters... Oh, he's replying to Allison. Allison says, does releasing the Unmakers to players in the game, does it end like Rogue One style? They all die. Spoilers. I think the player characters getting away with their lives should be the secondary objective in the end. Magnus is correct. Do I GM that many times a week as well? 4 of those games I GM'd. Listen, Chris, you can slowly build up a group of dedicated players who are willing to put D&D first. Anybody can do it. I'll eventually make a video on how to curate your player group and how to schedule D&D like we do. It is. I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's not as hard as people think. And Magnus is correct, by the way. In a standalone adventure, if you're running a standalone adventure, you know it's just going to be 6 sessions. 6 sessions, then you're out. You're never going to see these characters again. Might as well make the boss battle fatal. This is one of 70 campaigns I run in my campaign setting. These characters don't all need to have happy endings. They're all coming on board and they know that they're going to play 6 sessions. So session number 7 isn't promised to them even if they live. Let them fight. Let them die. Thanks so much for tuning in, Elaine. Love the channel. Great voice. Thank you. You and your fiance do a fantastic job. We got engaged? Nobody told me. Can I ask about the Onomancer again? If he knows the name, why doesn't he use it? Is there a profound reason for him keeping onto it? And also, if they kill him, why doesn't he use it? If they try to kill him, why doesn't he use it? That's a good question. That's a good question. I think he's waiting for an opportune moment. I think he's waiting until he can. The Onomancer wants to get as close to the 7th division as possible to use it on all of them. So they're gonna have to stop him before he does that. So if spoken within proximity. Put it in the right spot. It can kill thousands. Maybe an entire division. Maybe more. Comma here, I think. The Onomancer is biding his time. So the Kuprak asks, if they all TPK without achieving the end goal, does that mean you end up with a poisonous wasteland on your map? You bet your ass. Absolutely. That is why I'm running this. Because when the time comes that we ever go back to Venkara, I want my players, the ones who played in this adventure, I want them to tell the other players at the table, the ones who aren't playing this adventure, like Magnus, Anna, or Salka, we're all modding here last time as well. They're going to ask, why are you all freaking out? I just said we're going to Venkara, why are you all freaking out? And they're going to say, because the Unmaker is released and it's a poisonous wasteland. It's going to create this feeling that it's a real place, because suddenly there is this lore that one player is delivering to another player, because the player that's delivering the lore was there. His character wasn't there, so he's going to look at me first and he's going to go, can I roll a history check to see if I know about the Unmaker and the poisonous blighted wasteland? And I'm going to say, go ahead, and they're going to roll and they're going to get some number, and I'm going to say either yeah, go ahead and tell them anything you know, or go ahead and tell them just the very basics. I'll let them tell no matter what. That, you know, I'll let them have their fun. I'll just try and rein them in a little if they get a 7 or whatever. And they say, I got a 13, and I'm going to say, you know, just tell them whatever you know, and they're going to say, because during the last war, King Ulbricht released the Unmaker, and the wasteland is blighted. We will breathe poisonous air the entire time we're in Venkara. They never recovered from the last war. It's going to feel real, right? It's going to create this verisimilitude, as they're all going to feel like that's what really happened. Or the Atroxians are going to depose him. They're going to depose Ulbricht. The Unmaker doesn't get released. It's ending number 2. I try to think of at least 2 endings. Now, in between, there are probably a million different permutations of what actually could happen. But ending number 2, the Atroxians depose Ulbricht, and they installed a different government. And now, the players hand me the cards, and they say, metaphorically, they say, what happens next? And it's my job to invent new lore for Venkara. This is why you can never finish world building. You can never be done, because you're still inventing new lore. By the time they get back there, if the players were successful here, the king, the king's men, all the allies that the king has, all of the weapons and artillery, the iconography, the logos, everything is going to have to be thrown out the window, and I'm going to have to start again. But that's going to create this feeling that this is a real place with real history. Right? That is the value of a standalone adventure. So why was it that the Onomancer tells us about the Unmaker? Because it's the Unmaker's name, right? The Kuprak asks, could the Unmaker be a swarm of worms? Except their bodies have holes and release poisonous gas. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Oh, sorry. I knew that was going to happen by accident. I have to, listen, there's a button here that just plays a clip, and I have to be careful. Terrible. One of these days I'll be better at doing this whole streaming thing. I'll figure it out, I promise. Awesome. So, the Onomancer has done tons of research on the Unmaker to learn its name. I think the players can learn the name too. We probably have to go figure out a name eventually. I think it's going to have to be something that evokes Nurgle, like, you know, Lord of Decay. That kind of. If we can get an Urgle in there, I'd be very happy, or just an Urg. That would be fantastic. I think this here has to be the Blighted Tower. Something with a lot of consonants and apostrophes. Yes, that's good. Right now I'm just sort of going through and I'm trying to clear a lot of this stuff. I'm wondering if this Onomancer thing is too early. I might want to put it here. Skurk. Ragnur Grasvrum. Really short like Tim. I think short is the way to go. I'd like to be able to say it without having to look at a note every time. I'm terrible with that. I'm terrible. If you've read me Jason Alexander, you'd be familiar with the 3-clue rule. That if something is important, you want the players to do it, you have to clue them in 3 times. So we have to be prepared that they're going to do all 3 of these missions. We can figure out exactly what that means at some point later, but ultimately I think it's going to make the war effort better. It's going to make the war effort better, but it's going to make this battle more difficult. But I don't know how those 2 connect again. What are Onomancers again? Onomancers are word wizards. Dwarves have word magic. They are able to speak words through the magic of true names. Mike was saying the same thing. Yep, they speak words through true names, and then this allows them to exert their will. I think wish, in my world, is basically the best onomancy. It is also the best magic. Right? It is just magic through names and words. Tak. Oh no, Mancer. Yes. Yes, Bloodbreather. Exactly. Dr. Raven, that sounds really cool. I don't know that that's true though. That's largely because of my own lore reasons. Tharizdun exists, for instance, in my setting, and Tharizdun is most everybody knows it as Pandemonium, but the Order of Onomancers protects the material world by making sure nobody knows Tharizdun's name. And many of them, or some of them, many of them do, and they're not like lightning or something. So maybe the Unmaker is special. I don't know. Hang on, what mission haven't we put in here? Capture the flag, deliver info through occupied area. Those are the 2. Those are the 2. Is there a fancy word for Dwarven kings? No, we've just been calling them kings so far. I do for whatever passes as a Scottish accent in my table, and king is just, it's a good sort of thing to gutturally belt at someone. Incite rebellion. Alright, let's do that. Here's how we highlight the moral dilemma. We make them care about the dwarves. Slipping out of frame here. We make them care about the dwarves. We make them care about the Venkarns. So, in session 3, they meet a group of dwarvish freedom fighters. We need their name, but Vankaran freedom fighters tend on deposing King Ulrich and ending his 200-year reign of oppression and tyranny. Rescued hostage is a good connection into the freedom fighters, yeah. Break him out of prison? Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That has a different ring to it than this this rescue thing. It's more like capture the flag, but it's a person. Bust in, get them, evac. Yeah, that's cool. Let's do that. You know, this reminds me a lot of the Clone Wars, the TV show. Like, I could imagine any one of these sessions has a bit of a time jump between them. I could imagine we run one of these things, and then 4 days later, the expeditionary group must do another mission. Maybe. I don't know. I'm thinking of the, what are they, in the 80s, the Mujahideen. There's a long history of powerful, like superpowers, major powers in the world, supporting freedom fighters, often to their own detriment. I think leading these freedom fighters is what could well be the next king of Ankara, and might honestly be a threat to other kinds of freedom. I think they could create a new despot, or they're perfectly fine and lovely and normal. I think a bit of both. I think we're going to want to make 3 or 4 characters, and we're going to want to figure out what they're like and give them some personality. The gyrocopter chase sequence has to wait. Listen, I said it was going to be easy to stick it anywhere, and now I'm having a difficulty finding it. Some of the freedom fighters don't really like the idea of cooperating with an invading army is also good conflict. Yeah, I think the freedom fighters have to be different factions. They have to have, you know, who are the freedom fighters? The leader, possible despot, the idealist would install democracy, not super democracy, just regular good democracy. The radical, it's the Adroxians, right? Suddenly, let's go and have a look at Emily and get some names for these guys. Or you folks could all suggest some Dwarven names. Implying super democracy is not good. They're coming for me, aren't they? Capture the flag. Are they anti-slavery? Yeah, definitely. Very, very anti-slavery. Yeah, exactly, Agile Monk. Which should be the theme? Those are all good names. Just dwarfy names. I'm okay with using stereotypes here. We don't need to dwarven stereotypes. Like, I would literally use Emily from FantasyNameGenerators.com if I wasn't streaming. Do you have a Venkarn reference in the old Merc PDF? I do. The Unbroken Legion, I think. Magnus is referencing a very old handout I gave my players ages ago. And there is Venkaran mercs in there. But they're bad guys. They have slave soldiers. They're bad dudes. Bungle McCrundleson. No, Aaron, I need dwarfy names. Istvan. Listen, I'm going to use all of Yanis' suggestions if I don't get any more. Do the cells have words that open them, like the onomancers? No. So, what I tend to do with magic in my setting, I know I just said that it's different continent to continent at the start. I tend to think of it as being mostly normal, like mostly non-magical, and then in special circumstances there might be magic. So maybe this one extraordinary prisoner they need. Maybe that one could be locked up with onomancy, but I tend to think of it as just regular lock and key. You know, that might be fun, since it is a mission. It's a twist. What's the warrior's name? Reardras. Reardras. It's also just fine to introduce it here. Radical could talk like Winston Churchill. Yeah, Winston Churchill's in charge of the Atroxians. His name is Wallace Credge. Listen, I'll steal from anybody. I'm shameless. If my players catch me stealing, I just smile. I'm going, who cares? I don't. A defector of the highest order. Yes. Yes, that's cool. And then he can speak the word at the lock. Is any of these important people a girl? I think Mahara is, but we can get more in here. Deirdre? I already have a Deirdre set up in a different campaign, but Weirdras is that an anagram? Brunhild. Brunhild could work. Yeah, I like that better. That's better. Brunhild, Mano, Istan. Istan is going to be a dwarf. He's a man. I mean, he's going to be no beard, scrawny. He's going to look. He's kind of going to look like a halfling. Just to make sure we show that dwarves are all sorts. Awesome. I think the Unbroken Legion is something the army is worried about. Yeah. The one that is the weird one. Yeah, exactly. How do you feel about Russian names for dwarves? I tend to use Russian names for my Barovia. So I use all kinds of Slavic names for Barovia. I try my best to, if I'm using names that humans have on Earth, that they belong to humans in a lot of cases somewhere else. Brunhild, obviously, is a German name. But I also have humans that have German names, so I could always have one of these dwarves have a Russian name. They could be a dwarf from that culture, or could, anything could happen in that regard. But what I try to not do too much of is associate an entire culture that belongs to humans to a species we might otherwise consider to be monstrous. I don't mind drawing small connections between all kinds and then creating a sort of rich tapestry that this bit of culture and that bit of culture and this bit of culture all kind of form into how I roleplay kobolds or whatever. But I do try my best to make sure to not take a culture and then paint it onto an entire monstrous species. In our setting, the Drow ended up with Russian accents. The Drow, like so many people in my setting, have British accents because I feel okay making fun of the Brits endlessly. So if I have an entire nation of bad people, which obviously the Drow aren't, they're always good Drow and all that. But if I have a culture that I'm portraying as evil or misguided or colonialistic or imperialistic or mercantilistic, I make sure that they have British accents because they can take it. They've been on top long enough. Oh my God, John's here. The whole time, John, I was thinking, if John could listen to me right now, he'd be obscenely upset. And here he is. John, everybody, is a friend of mine. Is a friend of mine. He works with me. And he's British. I think we've got a pretty good adventure here in front of us. We don't have a name for these guys. Oh, hang on. Yes, the army. The army's worried about the Unbroken Legion. Do you ever use dead languages like Greek or Sanskrit? Yeah, I try and associate ancient languages with ancient cultures. So if they meet, if the characters are seeing a statue of somebody who was alive a long time ago, I might use a Greek name, and I might use a name of somebody relatively famous but ancient, and that sort of creates. I'm laughing at Giannis's comment. That sort of creates this feeling of that is really ancient. Like when I tell my players that Babylon exists in my world, they get this kind of, ooh, Babylon. I heard of that one. You know what I mean? In the same way that you could say, Asmodeus did this, and people go, oh, Asmodeus or Vecna, and they go, oh, Vecna. You can do the same with real world things. You can just say, Surtur, the king of the fire giants, and they all go, Surtur. Oh no. The Unbroken Legion. I'm gonna put in here. Yeah, Atlantis. Atlantis would be cool, right? I just put Atlantis in my world. Atlantis is a city in my plane of water. I literally don't know anything else about it except that Atlantis is a city in my plane of water. But now that I tell my players that, they all kind of go, ooh, oh. Empower the slaves to undermine the Unbroken Legion. Is the Unbroken Legion the name of the Benkaran army? No, they are... Sorry, folks. The Unbroken Legion was mentioned... This is how I run D&D, everybody. The Unbroken Legion was mentioned as a mercenary company back in 2019. Or 2018. Yeah, in 2018 it was mentioned as a mercenary company that was, yeah, like Magnus says, Benkaran aligned. And they are... I've never done anything with them. They've never shown up. I just mentioned them, and I moved on. They were in a handout. There was a paragraph written about them. The commanders of the Legion are called the Adamantine Command. So, presumably they're up to something. We don't know, but we're going to put them in here. So what I like to do with standalone adventures like this is I like to create an opportunity for the players to determine their own difficulty level. I think the hardest version of this adventure is the one where they get the perfect victory, where they do all 3 of these missions, and then they have less time here, and they only have like a turn or 2 before the Unmaker shows up, but they immediately throw in completely with King Thanaton. If they do that, if they do all the optional missions and immediately throw in with King Thanaton unconditionally, they might find themselves in a position where they get a total victory. So in that regard, that is the total victory, which means I should write down here somewhere. It'll take King Ulbricht's men 4 turns to unleash the Unmaker. If the players spent time helping the army or the navy, that number is reduced to 3 turns. If they did both, it's 2 turns. So now there is a tier of difficulty they can add by guaranteeing victory to the Atroxians by helping the army, helping the navy. The expeditionary force is going to find themselves on the back foot here. I don't know what the in-universe reason is for the difference of 12 seconds. I don't know. I'll have to go figure that out. Maybe we'll have to figure it out. Hello, Oliver. Welcome aboard. Let's do a quick summary, shall we? I know that that folks were asking for that earlier as well. During the last war, a massive conflict across the entire multiverse of my campaign setting. This was a campaign, this was a series of campaigns we ran. There was a series of campaigns we ran back last year and the year before. During the last war, in this time that we were playing back then, we knew that the Atroxians were invading Venkara. This is that campaign. We have now, since that campaign ended sometime last year, we did a 27-year time skip. We were in modern day now, 27 years after the last war, but here we are now during the last war. We're going to do a little flashback adventure with the expeditionary group, a group of 6 special forces operatives, a commander, a lieutenant, a sapper, a sniper, a medic, and a brawler. And their job is to disable the dwarven defense, the dwarves of Venkara, for the Atroxian Empire. They are going to find themselves in a position where their initial assignment is to take control of the Velatros River Lock and guarantee the 4th Fleet gets access to the Velatros River out of the Halkani Delta so they can sail up and eventually conquer Orberg, the capital. However, once they're there, they're going to hear intelligence about the dwarves building a mech in a village a bit upriver. Once there, they're going to hear intelligence about Venkaran freedom fighters. We don't have a name for this group yet. But the Venkaran freedom fighters are going to are intending on deposing King Ulberich, the king of the Venkarans, who is an oppressive, despotic tyrant who has slaves and terrible weapons of war, oppresses his people. These freedom fighters want change. They want to do away with slavery. They want to install democracy. They have bright ideas about the future. The expeditionary force can enter a prison entertainment site and release this onomancer for them and help the expeditionary force. They can also learn about several different operations going on. These 3 missions might be in the wrong place. Let's finish the summary. Over the course of the adventure, they are eventually going to learn about a plot that the Venkarans have to unleash something called the Unmaker, a titan that predates this society of dwarves, predates the nation of Venkara. The Unmaker is a massive bolite titan constructed entirely of worms, and it exudes noxious fumes that, if breathed, will kill you. The king of Venkara, King Ulbrich, knows that the Atroxians are going to win this war. So in his desperation, he's going to unleash this titan in the hopes that the titan kills the Atroxians, even if it might kill thousands of dwarves. Now, the Atroxians are in a position to do nothing and let the Unmaker be released, let the people rise up and save the Atroxians a whole bunch of hassle. The other Atroxians, the expeditionary force, the players, can save the army a whole bunch of hassle. We have created a bunch of FPS-style missions. In the first one, we have a King of the Hill type of wave defense scenario. In the second one, we have search and destroy to find pieces of the mech, as well as a hostage that they're going to rescue. In the third one, which we have unnamed mercenary company, if somebody wants to give that a go, I think I'm looking for some kind of evocative name. It has to be short, can only be 2 words most, maybe 1 good dwarven word, I don't know. Then there is an onomancer who has uncovered the Unmaker's true name and thinks that speaking it in the right circumstances, it would kill loads of people, maybe the entire Atroxian army. Which, by the way, I think should be an option. If they fail here, I think the Atroxian army is weakened enough that it cannot win. And then, in the end, they are going to be in a position where letting the Unmaker loose is the only way they can win. Right? Thanks for joining, Jan. Thanks so much. This has been amazing. If you want to reference D&D lore, the Unmaker could be Cuse. Cuse. That's cool. The worm that walks. Oh, yes. This is the Unmaker. Hey everybody. Magnus has solved the lore. Check this out. It's an elder evil prophesies to usher in the Age of Worms, a time when the undead will rise and take over the world. It's a 30-foot-tall giant composed of a shifting mass of maggots and worms filled with a psychic imprint of the former demigod named Kyus. Kyus, yeah, I'm saying that correctly. There it is. That's the Unmaker, everybody. Look at that. If one of your players accidentally guesses the Unmaker's name, do they accidentally set up a nuke? No. It is the combination of being an Onomancer and saying the name. It has to be both. Magnus does not want to be kissed by Kyus. Anyway, that's the summary, Oliver. I hope that helps. Yeah, so notice, by the way, that we have these 6 sessions, and they all have plots in them, right? They have this river lock, they have this engineer, they have these freedom fighters, they have this word of mass destruction, they have this blighted tower, which we haven't written anything about yet. I think it's basically a dungeon crawl, by the way. And then they have the Unmaker, and they have this moral quandary. They could just leave and let the Venkarans fight amongst themselves. But notice how we don't know how any mission is going to go. And nowhere in here do I need to make it so that I am stuck if a mission goes badly. I don't need... I just need to know the truth of the scenarios. And, these are marked out as 6 sessions. They might be 7, they might be 8, I don't know. But what is important here is that we are preparing. This is why it's called preparation, right? We're not writing the story. We're prepping scenarios. These are all FPS-style maps. They are all sections that are sort of individual chunks that can be used in any order. And hey, if they fail with the Onomancer, and the Onomancer manages to speak the true name, he might kill enough Atroxian soldiers that they are forced to let the Unmaker destroy Venkara. Right? If they succeed everywhere, and the turn counter goes down to 2 at the start of the battle, and then they have 2 turns to undo everything, they might be forced to just let the kings do what they do and release the Unmaker. Or maybe they choose not to. We have put in several points of uncertainty, and that uncertainty is making me excited to run the game. That is the purpose of preparing scenarios. We aren't preparing a story. We don't have an end in any of these things. You can do an outline and just know that what you have up your sleeve as the Dungeon Master is a bunch of dope shit. A bunch of cool stuff that you cannot wait to deploy. You're excited. You're giggling. You're giddy. You can be giddy even though you don't know how things are going to end. You don't know if they're going to solve all this. Maybe they're going to immediately make enemies of the Venkaran freedom fighters, and we roll initiative. And they fight all the freedom fighters, and I just need to find a different way at the end of that session. I find a different way to tell them about this Onomancer. And then we do this scenario. Is that railroading? The freedom fighters aren't there to help, right? The freedom fighters contribute to the scenario. The story is all about getting them from the start of the adventure to an endpoint. And that endpoint is what the entire standalone adventure hinges on. Will they stop the Unmaker or not? Will they choose to let it live and go on its rampage? Or will they choose to stop it? How are they informed by their choices? How are they informed by their actions leading up to that point? So the dramatic question is in session number 6, or the final session, right? Everything up until that point is going to shift their options in such a way that maybe they don't have a choice by they get to the end because they made choices all along the way. Or maybe they made no choices all along the way and now they have a difficult discussion at the end. This is how it's not a railroad. They are constantly shifting on the adventure. They're pushing it one way or another. And they're creating this scenario with me. And all I have to do is when they go off the rails somewhere in the middle of this, all I have to remember is that everything is fine as long as somehow, at some point, maybe off screen, maybe not, but I tell them about the Venkaran freedom fighters. If we don't figure out what they are, if they don't go there, and I don't tell them, we move on to another session, maybe I tell them about this, maybe there's an option for that, maybe I swap them around, I can do whatever. I have infinite options at my disposal. I just know that up my sleeve I have all these scenarios prepped. And what happens next exactly? That's going to be up to the players. What happens to the Unmaker? What happens to Venkara? We don't know. Will their failures along the way make it so that they have no choice? We don't know. So even in only 6 sessions, you can create lots of options, lots of opportunities to have fun, to make decisions in character, to roleplay. Follow me? Swift feet. I think I need something like the chain breakers. Squirt -1 says, I don't know how long your sessions are, but this looks like 20 plus sessions to me. I play for about 5 hours, and I can be real dictatorial about the fact that we get stuff done. And if I'm not dictatorial enough, Magnus is. Now Magnus won't be playing, so I might have to deputize someone to be my let's get stuff done deputy. But I play for about 5 hours, and I think you can stick a lot of stuff in 5 hours. I am routinely surprised by how much we can get done in 5 hours. Chain splitters, chain breakers, chain splitters. The Unbroken Legion, chain breakers, the Unbroken chain splitters. Yeah, I think you're right, Gribblefex. I think true Halixon, chain splitters. I don't know what splitters. Thanks so much for joining us, Allison. This has been fantastic. It's been great having you. Hey, it's Stephanie Plays Games. Everyone, Stephanie Plays Games has an excellent video on combat objectives you should all have seen by now. It is a must-watch for new Dungeon Masters. She's also got a whole bunch of other videos. It's an amazing channel, frankly. Cookie Dude says, in my sessions, I'm routinely surprised by how little we get done in 7 hours. You know, I've been there too. The thing is, though, if your players know you're only playing for 6 sessions, the Unchained, yes, Janus, that's the one. No, the Unbroken. The Unchained, no. I don't like splitters. Yeah, Cookie Dude. My last session at D&D, we just talked. We just talked for 5 hours. It was great. I loved it, but nothing got done. So you gotta figure out. You gotta loop your players in. It's only for 6 sessions. then you step on the accelerator. As the DM, you could always step on the accelerator and go, all right, you've been yapping for too long. A thing blows up, and they go, oh crap, let's go, let's get into it. Chain. Shattered shackles. Shackles is good. Unbroken Legion is ruining everything. Freedom Fighters? I think a Freedom Fighters is what they are. It's not what I want to call them. I want them to have a cool name. I want that feeling of some years from now, somebody's going to mention this faction, and somebody who wasn't there at the table, didn't play this adventure, is going to go, ooh. You know what I mean? Time to bust out the Saurus. You're right, Dr. Raven. We should have gone to the Saurus ages ago. The Saurus. That's funny, Kupark. I don't think so. But it's good. Shackle Smashers. Terrible. Terrible. See, who was saying that about the Freedom Fighters? Grimblefex. You're not wrong, because they are fighting to free slaves. No, Stephanie, you're right. Like, I can just do this. I literally will just stare at the Saurus, and everything sucks. Literally everything makes me annoyed, and then suddenly I'm like, oh. How many syllables are you willing to go? They have to be able to scream it out loud at their team. They have to be able to go team, and they, if it's go the Venkaran Freedom Fighters, that's just too much. But if they go breakers, right? The Unshackled is perfect for me, but it's the Unbroken Legion, the Unshackled. Renders. Like shackle renders? Maybe. Crack. Break. Right? Chain breakers. Listen. I'm gonna go with chain breakers. I'm gonna go with my gut. But then Giannis comes out of nowhere. Torn collars. Dwarven word for the people. If we get a good made-up Dwarven word, then yeah. I mentioned the Mujahideen earlier. Like, that's not bad. Q Fleetwood Mac. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me, Gunnar. I think I'm gonna go with Chainbreakers. I think we got it. Ba-ba-ba. All right. Blighted Tower. Maybe the Blighted Tower. No, is that the occupied area? I don't know. So this one, Allison was talking. Allison's gone now, but if you're watching the VOD, Allison, you were talking about sneaking through the occupied area. I think that one works for this, because if they just have to leave, then they just leave, and they neither help the army, but also made it more difficult at the end. So I think that's fine. Now, I think this one is kind of just a dungeon crawl. What's the next job? So we need to figure out session number 5. Figure out session number 5. That's going to be the dungeon crawl. There's a dungeon crawl here at the end, and it could use some of these. We still don't have a gyrocopter chase sequence. Magnus says, remember to give them gas masks as part of their starting equipment. We made rules for those. It's about time we use them. You're right. The firearms rules had gas mask rules in them. Thanks for joining, Saf. Thank you so much for coming along. It's been a long stream, hasn't it? We've been going for ages. But I'm not done, and I've still got energy, and I've got some caffeine. Stand by. Hang on. Gyrocopter to get away with the Onomancer. Yes. They fly the gyrocopter. Obvious in hindsight, right? We make them fly the gyrocopter. There it is. That's our gyrocopter chase sequence. Shady says in the gyrocopter chase sequence, in case something goes wrong card. It might be. It might be that we get to a point where I'm running session number 2 and I suddenly think, listen, I'm gonna bust out the gyrocopter now. Then we just do that and we go deal with that later. Please tell me your caffeine isn't pre-workout. Okay. The Blighted Tower. You told me not to tell you, Stephanie. Approaching the tower would kill anyone not wearing gas masks. Now, I don't know how to make a dungeon crawl be Spec Ops. What's the goal of going through the Blighted Tower? Yeah, exactly. We got out. So, the thing is, the reason I want this to be a dungeon crawl, and we can figure out the Spec Ops paint code in a bit. Everything else is Spec Ops mission FPS fantasy first, and then second, D&D adventure. Right? So it's game first. Here, the same is true, but in a different way. The reason we're doing a dungeon crawl before the final session is because D&D works best if you did a few fights in a day. If you go Nova, then every fight kind of becomes the same, where the paladin uses their max level smite and everybody uses their high level spells, and now we're done. So what we want to do is we want to have there be a session before the final session where everybody drains their resources, gets low on hit points, low on spell slots, and they start freaking out. And then the final battle comes along. Right? The final battle, Giannis, the final battle in session 6 also takes place in the Blighted Tower. So it's all happening in there, but I want a whole session where we're just going through the Blighted Tower. I don't know what they're fighting. Makes you itch? I don't have that. So the Blighted Tower is encounters 1 through 5, and the Unmaker's encounter 6. Yeah, precisely. Now, it might be that it's just 2 or 3 encounters, but we make them deadly. Or they call it now hard. It could be a dungeon where you can't see more than 20 feet in front of you because of the thick poisonous fog. Yes, Shady. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, Yanis. They land at the top. They have to fight their way through the bottom. That's where the Unmaker rests. And in between, Gas Mask Dungeon. Did you guys watch Arcane Season 2? No spoilers. No spoilers. Everybody be cool. But, yeah. Would the Undead King's army be populating the tower? Yes. Yes, you're right, Deku Park. By King Thanaton's undead legionnaires. King Thanaton. So in the final session, King Thanaton knows that the players are going through the tower. Right? He sees what his undead minions see, so he knows that the Atroxians are here and they're here to do something. So I think he already wants to fight the Atroxians. I think in the final fight, no matter what, King Thanaton is going to fight the Atroxians. Now, there may be a series of rolls they can get him to chill out. But I kind of like the idea that they get to fight him. It's a cool mini. It would kind of suck if they don't fight him. Now these are good notes. In a minute, I'm going to open up a prep doc from a different adventure like this, and you're going to see how much better these notes are. And that's probably because you folks are making it really fun to prep. More fun than normal. I see a shocking lack of links. Yeah, once I get into deep adventure prep, I usually stop linking things. And eventually I'll go in and go, ugh, and link something. But right now, this is all fine. Does key work? No. Anyway. Galaxy Fox Night Sky. Hey, welcome. You weren't here at the start. We missed you. You were here for the entire last one. But it's good to see you. Good that you made it. Yeah, don't cast Fireball in there. This has gone really well. I think this might be one of the coolest adventures I will ever have run. I'm really excited. Sorry, Magnus. Lucas Denny, welcome. Thanks so much for joining. Gas mask filters last 1 hour. Yeah, that's from our firearms rules. We have gas mask rules in there. Is there something to be said about them, like, sneaking or trying to be quiet? Like, they have guns? Is that going to be fun if they're all sneaking? It's going to be fun for the brawler. Wouldn't damage to the gas mask be instant game over? Probably. I don't know if I'll let myself do that unless somebody... I might let someone grapple them and then start pulling at the mask. And then that is not instant game over. It says this here. I think what it actually is a D6 per round. They're not wearing it. Let's write that down. Thomas, yeah, I'd love to do a follow-up when we run this adventure. Mist is flammable, so they won't use firearms. Maybe, yeah, that might be okay. Listen, they'll be using guns for the entire rest of the adventure, so maybe it's okay that in here it's a risk. So what we're going to add here, a little gameplay element, so that there's a bit of level design to it, like a bit of map foo. While there are pockets of poison-free zones due to perpetually burning cauldrons. Why are they perpetually burning? So we can have level design, right? Shooting guns, I just say any fires. Any fire will burn the mist and anyone standing in it. So this perpetual flame is keeping the mist at bay, so the mist sort of lights up and evaporates. But if they shoot a gun, they ignite all of the flammable poison they're standing in. Like a fireball? Noise will also attract nearby undead soldiers. This is our major stealth mission, right? Sneaking through the tower, knives, stealth kills, right? Moving through, the poisonous gas is all in here, right? This is our primary stealth segment you guys wanted, right? Yeah, exactly, Hannes. Yeah, there's active noise you get away with. Active fighting, Magnus says you get away with some noise. We need a reason for them not to just light the tower and run, letting the explosion do the clearing. Wow, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. Alright, see you, Thomas. Thanks for joining. Silencers, Ludala, I think it's a good idea, but it kind of robs us of our game design concept here. Unless we make the silencers limited use, like real life silencers, they burn up as you use them. They're basically like car mufflers, right? And they over repeated use they burn up and become useless. Yeah, bit of caffeine. Look away, Stephanie. So why don't they just blow up the tower? Maybe that's just a valid thing to do. I think the answer to blowing up the tower is risky. Okay. This leaky little cup I keep drinking out of. There's no guarantee it'll work. Pockets of poison does solve that, as opposed to pockets of non-poison. Yeah, you're probably right. Silencers are pillows taped to the end of a gun. Yeah, like even modern day silencers are not much more elaborate than that, by the way. Yeah, Cookie Dude, you're probably right. There we go. That makes more sense, right? Why not blow up the tower? There's no guarantee it'll kill Ulbrich or Thanaton. That's sort of our answer, because they will just leave it up to fate. Blowing up the tower is no different than not going in. Now they might decide to not go in. They might decide this isn't our fight. We don't know if we want Thanaton to be able to release Thanaton to be. We don't know if we don't want Ulbrich to be able to release the Unmaker, Cuse, or if we want Thanaton to stop him. Maybe they decide after session 4, which might be session 6 if they do both of these two optional missions, which are here. So they might decide, we don't know, it's not up to us, whatever. If they do, they could just leave and let fate decide, at which point I probably just make a roll behind the screen. I give it some odds. I will have prepared an encounter by that point probably, and I'll think, listen, Ulbrich has a 50-50 chance. Grab a d20 and I'll roll it, and high is one and low is the other, and that'll be that. So if they blow the tower, same deal. So let's really, do we need to go figure these out? Unleash the slave soldiers and the Atroxians. I think we have these. We could go now and create optional session prep for these two, but we've been going now for 2 hours? 3 hours? We've been going now for 3 hours. I think we've made excellent progress, by the way. I think we've got plenty to be proud of. We've got an adventure outline here. We've got a bit of question mark that we're going to get rid of. Blighted Tower. Hang on, let's take that. Let's put it in there. Erase this. Just put a little thing in there. That's fine. Deliver info through occupied area. I think we're cutting that. Dwarf spies, counter espionage. Maybe. I don't think we need it. Incite rebellion. We've got that in here. Enemy elite squad. This might be Thanaton and his my editors, Magnus at work and Avi on Mystic Art Scripts complain that I have so many run-on sentences and commas, but Commander of the Bone Guard. That's his elite squad. Thanaton has some elite squad. Spy in their ranks. I don't think I want too much of. if I put a dwarf in the adventure and I say this is a dwarf friend of yours, I will have so many dwarf bad guys that I kind of don't want their only dwarf friend to betray them. So I think it's important that if they get a dwarf friend, they stay their dwarf friend, and then we are able to color this culture of people with not such a broad brush that they're all bad guys, right? We get the freedom fighters, we get this engineer, we get all these fun dwarf characters. So I think that's important that we don't have a dwarf traitor immediately here. Speaking of that, let me cut this line that says dwarves, they're bad. the Vankaran loyalists, the ones loyal to King Ulbric, they're bad. That's okay. We can have villains. Right. Real quick, NPCs. Listen, you know. Yeah, 12, 14-hour sessions. Yeah. Magnus was telling you guys about the cabin sessions. Whenever we run adventures in the Westwood, which is our cowboy adventure, we run all day. We get up, we have waffles for breakfast, and then we put on cowboy music, and then we play cowboys, and then we take a little break, and maybe smoke some tobacco or have a beer, and then we keep playing, and then we take a dinner break, and then we sit back down and bring out the whiskey. And then we have such an amazing time, and nobody remembers what happens. I don't know why. I think it's the dinner, but I've been told it's the alcohol. Listen, sometimes when I do this, I also do a little section like this. And what are they called? Chain breakers? Yeah, Stephanie, it's great. You just turn on hang on. You just turn on let me go find Marty Robbins. Big Iron by Marty Robbins, and put that on Spotify Song Radio. Hang on, that's OBS. Sorry. Too much behind the curtain. And it's amazing. It's so much fun. We we all just have silly accents. The first time we did it, we made it mandatory that you show up with a cowboy hat, talked in a southern accent, and had a fake mustache on. We even made the ladies do it. It was great. They all got their mustaches on, going, yeah. So chain breakers, we have these chain breakers here. Brunhild, Istvan, Mara, and what's his bucket? Rear Drass. Did I do that right? Look at me. Man, I'm so fucking clever. Sorry, I said I wasn't gonna swear. That didn't last. Right, Galaxy Fox? She's great. So, here we have 1,600 words for an adventure that we haven't even given a name to yet. Are we going to call it something? We should. Yeah, bang. Bang's awesome. What do we call this? I'd just be calling it Venkara, but I can't call this Venkara because I already have an article called Venkara. And I'm not going to call it the Unmaker or the Onomancer. Which channel in the Discord is for discussing this? If you're a channel member, which Cookie Dude you are, and you want to talk more about this adventure, there is a category called Channel Talk, and underneath there is a section called Venkara Adventure, and you're all welcome to go in there and discuss the adventure, because none of my players, except AB, has access to it. So you can talk there freely without spoiling it for anyone. But if you talk elsewhere on the server about it, players might get spoiled, and that's not a lot of fun. But in there, gloves are off. Phonics Dwarf Hawk Down is the funniest joke I've seen all day. That's hilarious. League of Expeditionary Gentlemen. These are fantastic. Hello, Andrew. Welcome. Luxembourg. That's amazing. Sorry, Pierre. That's just how my face is. It's not there. It's not? No. Oh, it must have left. Hang on. How about now, Cookie Dude? Sorry, I'm doing Discord admin on stream. That should be there now. The Invasion of Venkara. Listen, Venkara campaign's not bad. The Invasion of Venkara. Man. Thing is, the Invasion of Venkara is going to be the Obsidian article I write after the fact. Give myself a cameo. No. I'm all the NPCs. I don't need a cameo. So hang on. I wanted to show you. Name the operation. Name the campaign after that. Operation Big Short. Yeah. Yeah, Operation something, right? Interdict. What does interdict mean? The amount of times I just Google. Yeah. Just Google a word, I mean. I wanted to show y'all. I wanted to show you that I do all kinds of prep for my games. And it is so... There's such a vast difference between what I think a campaign needs that there really is a whole gamut of when I do an adventure prep document like this. Eventually, somewhere in here, scroll. Eventually, somewhere in here, I might do like session notes and go, Venkara 1, Eletros Riverlock, and make an article. And that article would end up in our session prep format. It'll be one of these. And I'd fill it in with a whole bunch of detail and move on from there. But that is not the only way I do it. I do it all kinds of ways. Whatever is best for the adventure, whatever gets me quickly playing the game, quickly running the game, quickly writing prep for the game. Right now, this one document is serving me perfectly well, and there's no reason to make it more complicated unless I want to. So every adventure is different. Don't let yourself freak out that something has to be in a certain format. So for instance, when we run that cowboy adventure Magnus was talking about, here is the entire first adventure. It's got a note on when it's set. It's got a list of 5 NPCs for the entire adventure. This is the campaign setting, including this big question mark for a coastal town 60 miles to the west. I don't know what it's called, apparently. Nearby cities, Long Creek, Blood Creek. It's got information on the town and a handful of NPCs in there, and locations, right? Remember, you only need 3. Here I've got 5. Whatever. Session number 1, 1 paragraph. Session number 2, 1 paragraph. Session number 3, 1 paragraph. Then I did another adventure in the Westwood. And look, I did a long intro spiel. 3 paragraphs, 2 paragraphs, 2 sentences. Here's another adventure. This is the third adventure in the Westwood that we played. It's got this blurb at the start. It's got part 1, 2 paragraphs, and then a list of NPCs. Part 2, 4 short paragraphs. You know, they go on like this for a bit. That's all. That's all I have in here. I typically write these at the cabin. I have an idea, I go to the cabin, I write down some stuff, crack open a cold one, and then we play D&D. Doesn't need to be more complicated. In the murder mystery adventure, I have an introduction. I have a note here on what the city of Blackguard is like these days. I have a note here on the adventure background, which is quite detailed and goes day by day what all the characters in the adventure are doing. All the way down here, what happens hour by hour, around 4 o'clock, around 6 o'clock. That is a murder mystery, so I need to know where everybody is at any given time, because the players are going to ask, when was this? What time was this? Who was there? Right? So I've got that all in here. On the economy, on the shareholders, on this estate. I go on and on and on. And here I go, these are the player characters. They sent me a load of text. I tried to summarize it in a sentence so I knew who the character was. Thanks so much for joining, Stephanie. Take care. I've got the adventure outline right here. This is the adventure outline. This is the whole thing. 1, 2, 3. This is 7 sessions. Each one gets a couple of sentences. Not all this. All the work went in on the background, on the characters, on the huge stuff going on. But once it was time to do the adventure outline for this adventure, I did this. And actually, I think I did most of this just before the session started. I think I had the titles, and that's it. And then it was just in my head. Right? Here's a whole session prep note. All this. Right? So, I could do all that. Or I can do this. These are both valid. These are both perfectly good ways of doing it. And if I were running a murder mystery, I wouldn't think this was enough. If I were running a cowboy adventure to play while we were all drinking whiskey and eating steak, this would be too much. It would make me confused and scared. So, judge what you need based on where you're coming into it, what you think you need, and then make that. Don't go overboard. Don't go crazy. Magnus says Operation Short Fuse. That's hilarious. I like that. There it is, everybody. That's going to be the stream, I think. That's going to be the whole thing. We can maybe answer some questions, but we're getting into the sort of the wee hours here of what is going to be our 4th hour streaming. Yeah, Magnus is answering some questions here. I don't know if there's much else to go figure out. I'm going to leave this note of NPCs like this. I think I'm just going to cut it. I don't think we need it. I think we're going to figure it out next time when we go make the first session. Which brings me to an important point. We're going to do this one more time. We're almost done, everybody. Like I said, I could run this next week if I wanted to, right? I could just start. But at some point in February, we're not going to be able to stream next week. I'm quite busy, as you hear earlier. There's just so many sessions that we've got running at the moment. So I'm going to take a little break from streaming, and we're going to go back early February. We're going to stream the 3rd part in this Making an Adventure series for Operation Short Fuse. That is a funny name. And we're going to figure out how to set up the first session. We're going to have an opening monologue we're going to deliver to the players. We're going to figure out a song we can listen to and get us in the mood. We're going to figure out who the main NPCs are, how they talk, and how each character is introduced. We're going to give them all character intros, so they all get to be themselves for a bit. Then we're going to get the party together, and we're going to get them on their first mission, and that's going to be the Valitros River Lock, which we've talked about a bunch so far. I'm not going to drag this out any longer than it needs to be, because that's where we're going to pick it up next time. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. This has been a blast to be here with you and figuring all this out together. You've made it extraordinarily fun to prep this adventure, and I think this is probably some of the most fun I've ever had prepping. So I'm very grateful for all of the help and all the support, and thanks so much. Until next time, keep studying the